Hello, everybody. My name is Daniel Carter, co-founder of the Mindset Lab, and I'm a life and mindset coach. In this video, I'm going to be sharing something with you that has genuinely had a huge positive impact in my life. In this masterclass, we're going to be learning about how to reframe our thoughts, which really is the one thing that's going to have a huge impact on having control over our emotions in game, but also off the tables as well. I'm not going to be offering you any tips or tricks per se, but rather this is a model that's going to allow you to rewire your brain and make these permanent changes that you're looking for in your game. So yeah, if you're looking for more of that A game, more of that inner zone, rather than having your emotions dictate your state, then this is the masterclass for you. And I'm not going to be able to teach you everything about reframing your mindset in this video. This is just one model, but I believe, at least for me, this has worked for me and many of my clients. This is a model that will require a reasonable amount of effort, but the output, the result that you can get if you apply this correctly is massive. So if you have any questions throughout this masterclass, if you have any thoughts, then please share them in the chat. I'm looking to interact with you guys. I'm also learning here. And yeah, without further ado, let's tuck in. Okay, let's go. So let's start with some common pain points that you guys might have. Sometimes I handle tough situations well, and others not. I lose focus after a sick beat and it costs me money. It feels like my emotions control me and not the other way around. I know variance is part of the game, I just can't stop feeling frustrated or anxious. Do you relate to any of these? So let's jump into a situation where you've been losing for 2 weeks straight. Okay? You haven't had a winning session for 2 weeks. And you get yourself into a lovely spot where there's 10 remaining. And there's a decent amount of money up top. And you lose a flip on the final table bubble to bust. I'm sure that you've been there. I've been there. I've heard all of the sob stories before. Now, I'm going to show you two different types of players here. We have a poker player that's involved in this pivotal all-in and loses. And which mindset do you want to have? Okay, we got Liam. Liam tilts immediately. He loses focus and he's now emotionally charged. Sorry if your name is Liam, by the way. Liam unregisters from the rest of the tournaments. He punts off stacks elsewhere. And now he's in a rotten mood after the session and he takes 3 days off. He was supposed to be grinding, but now he's decided, I don't want to play poker anymore. Okay, now let's look at somebody with a strong mindset. John. He's momentarily upset. Who wouldn't be in this tough situation? But he reframes it and he returns to baseline. He reflects on what he had control over. He remains aware of his own thoughts and feelings, and he continues on with his session. This is who you want to be. Your thoughts are the foundation of your performance. Something to think about. Okay, so let's start with a short exercise. I'm not going to wait. You guys can pause the video. I'd recommend to have a pen and paper for this masterclass, or you can just simply type something on screen. And I want you to write down any situation in poker that you can think of that really invokes a really strong negative emotion, okay? And it could be something that happens in the short term, or it could be something that happens over weeks. It could involve like a certain play style of somebody else, like maybe a certain type of fish or a certain type of reg. Maybe an unlucky situation that you get yourselves involved in, or making a mistake in game, okay? And maybe to help you guys out here, here's some different emotions that can really inhibit our performance. We have sadness, anger, shame, anxiety. Yeah, we've experienced all of these emotions before, but which can you think of any situations that really invoke a very strong emotional reaction? Okay, so I'm not going to wait here. You guys want to pause the video, you do that whilst you can think of this situation, write it down, and you're going to be able to use this situation later on in the video. Emotions influence behavior, which influences our performance. So, going to introduce to you the thought model. Okay, this is what we're going to be focusing on in this video, and it might also be worth to keep your own situation in mind throughout this whilst you're trying to learn this model. Okay, so the thought model starts with a situation, something that happens outside of us. Okay, whenever something happens, we perceive it and we have a thought. What follows this thought is an emotion. What follows the emotion is then a behavior. Our emotions influence the way that we behave, okay? The way that we perform. And this ends up in an outcome. There is an outcome after our behavior, of course. Now, something I would like to elaborate here on is that our thoughts in this situation, in this thought model, okay, our thoughts are pre-programmed based on how we have interpreted this situation in the past, okay? So what I'm saying here is that when something happens to us, when we see something happening, if it's a completely new situation, then we're going to try to put meaning to it. We're like, what does this mean? What's happening here? Okay? But when we're playing poker, many situations have happened to us over and over again. In fact, a lot of the things that happen to us at the poker tables, we put meaning to based on things that have actually happened to us before we even play poker. Okay, that's something to think about. And our emotional reaction is based on the quality of the thought we have about the situation. Okay? Let me just elaborate back on the thought here. If it is a new situation, then we have a moment where we can think and we can reflect and decide what this situation means. But most of the time, if we're not being self-aware, or we're not sort of reflecting on what's going on around us, then we're going to just very quickly put meaning to every situation. Okay? So let's use an example in poker that fits into this thought model. So this is kind of related to the situation that I showed you in the start of this masterclass. Losing a big flip in a pivotal moment. Okay, now this is going to be an example of somebody who has thoughts that aren't really empowering or encouraging us to grow, and that have a negative consequence. This is just for demonstration purposes, but you might be able to relate. Okay, so you lose a big flip in a pivotal moment. Your thought, I run so effing bad today, just like every day. Have you guys ever said that before to yourself? And yeah, what kind of emotional reaction is this going to give? If you tell yourself that you're running bad, that you run bad every day, okay, what kind of feeling, what kind of emotion is that going to do? It's going to really drag you down. It might make you frustrated, it might make you angry. It's going to make you feel hopeless. Yeah, I'm unlucky. I'm so unlucky. And maybe it makes you feel disappointed. So what kind of impact is this going to have? Well, obviously, we're going to lose some focus here. Our stress levels are going up, so that makes it harder to focus. We might end up shutting down. We could end up making reckless and impulsive plays. And what kind of result is this going to have? Obviously, we're going to end up making suboptimal plays. We're going to be making losing plays. We're going to be losing money. Okay, this isn't what you guys want, right? So let's look at another situation here. And I'm curious if the situation that you guys wrote down here is fitting in with this model so far. Is it similar to the last example? So situation, you make a mistake. Okay, you make a poor decision that costs you chips. Your thought, I suck. I'm bad. I'm not good enough. How's this going to make you feel? Sad? Might make you feel angry? Hopeless? Could make you feel ashamed. Gonna have a similar impact to the last situation. And this is obviously going to make you, you're then going to have, you're then going to be making worse decisions, right? Because you're feeling down, you're not focused. Yeah, you might be making reckless decisions. So yeah, you end up making more mistakes. You make mistakes that cost you EV, that cost you chips. Okay. Now, something that's worth noting here is that we start with a situation. We have this kind of these chain of events, these thoughts followed by emotions followed by behaviors that ends up in a result, an outcome. Okay, but the outcome is also a situation. Okay, because it's going to result in you making mistakes. So what you might notice here is that it's going to your thoughts that's provoking this, that's invoking these these emotions and making you make mistakes, or making you have make you suboptimal decisions, is going to feed you back the same situation, right? And you're going to have the same thoughts. And maybe you've heard of this before, but this is actually called the self-fulfilling prophecy. You've probably heard of this before, and now you really know what it means. So here's another example. This was an example that was used actually in this masterclass when I hosted this earlier. And the person shared that when they study after a session, or whenever they're studying and they see themselves making a mistake that they've worked on before, so they're making like a routine mistake, if you like, they would tell themselves that they should know this already and that they should know better, and that must mean that they're stupid. And I asked, well, how's that going to make you feel? See, I start doubting myself, get disappointed, I get upset, get angry. Well, what do you do then? Well, I guess I start studying less, and my motivation goes down, and then I start playing less. So that's the result. That's one of the results, actually. Yeah. So what was the result? Yeah, I play less. I don't improve as much. I'm studying less, so therefore I'm kind of maybe getting worse. This is not what you want. This isn't the result you're looking for. Okay, we don't want to be fueling the fire with our negative thoughts. Okay, your power lies in your thoughts. Your thoughts are where you reframe situations. Okay, we can accept or reject the way that we interpret events. Okay, and something to think about here as well is that we don't, poker aside, we're actually not going around in life reacting to the world. We are reacting to our perspective of the world. Okay, we're never reacting to the world. It's just we're meaning making machines as human beings. Okay, we put meanings to everything that happens, and we're reacting to that. Okay, so reframing the way that you see things is going to have a really big influence on your inner world. Okay, and your inner world is what we're trying to have control over, because we don't have control over the situations that happen to us. Okay, we can have an impact on them, but things that happen to us, we don't have control over them. So let's look at reframing in 3 steps. Okay, so step 1 is to recognize and acknowledge the initial thoughts. Okay, so when something happens, you go, "Oh man, I'm so unlucky." That's the thing. That's the thoughts. That's what you've got to recognize. Okay, so you don't need to do anything with it just yet. This is step one. Recognize these things happening. And you might say, I don't think I really have any thoughts. I think they just, things happen, and then, yeah, and I get these feelings and whatever, if I'm running badly, then feeling bad. No, you definitely are having thoughts. Okay, they might be very quiet, but if you give attention to them, they will get louder, and you can give more attention to them and start making changes. Okay. Step two, challenge the thought. Okay, we don't need to necessarily reframe it with a new thought straight away. We need to challenge the thought. Okay, can we challenge it with logic? Does it make sense? Is it serving us? Is the thought serving us? Can we challenge it with a growth perspective? Okay. And step three would then be to replace it with an empowering and actionable thought. Okay. And with continuous practice of reframing, if you do this over and over, you will start to have a different outlook on situations. Okay. You just start to see things differently. And this isn't something that requires effort over and over again. In the initial, when you're trying to make the initial change, it's a bit tougher because you've already got this perspective that's kind of like a wiring in your brain. Yeah. And it's like a bobsleigh. Yeah. No, it's this wiring is it's been used, this path has been used over and over again, so the bobsleigh can just fly through it. These are your thoughts, they're just flying, and if you want to change, then you kind of have to go off the track where the snow hasn't been packed down yet, so it's a bit, you've got to really push the bobsleigh through it, if you like. However, when you repeat this over and over, then what you'll find is that the track has less friction, and it becomes easier and easier. And over, say, if you practice this regularly over a couple of months, you'll actually end up creating a new normal. You've now rewired your brain. Okay. So let's just go back and you go back and use one of these examples and reframe the situation. Okay. So let's use this situation where a player has seen himself making a mistake when reviewing a tournament post-session. Okay. So obviously, I should know better than this. I must be stupid isn't very empowering. It's going to get you down. Okay. How else could we see this situation? And maybe this is a good opportunity if you're just listening to me and not really thinking for yourself. This is a really good opportunity to think, like, how could I think differently? Okay. Well, you could be compassionate. You could say, I'm a human being. I'm imperfect. I make mistakes. Or you could say, this is a great opportunity for me to learn. Why am I making this mistake? Okay. Now, what kind of emotional reaction is this going to get? If you're curious or you're compassionate to yourself, you might, well, you see room to grow. You see room to improve. That can actually be empowering. That can actually give you a positive emotion, and that might result in you studying more, increasing motivation. Okay, you might then start improving, making change in your game, which results in more motivation, making more money, and this is going to encourage you to study more. So it's the self-fulfilling prophecy, but now in a positive way. Okay. So if you look at the situation that you wrote down at the start of this masterclass, now think to yourself, what empowering thought can I use to reframe the situation that serves me, that serves my goals, that serves me as growing as a human being? Tools to strengthen reframing. So firstly is mindfulness exercises. Noticing thoughts before they take over. If you practice meditation, you might find that this helps you becoming a little bit more aware of this endless stream of thoughts we have. Don't know where they come from, but they pop up. How much How much energy do you want to give these thoughts? Are they positive thoughts? Are they negative thoughts? You don't necessarily have to meditate in order to be mindful. You can just be aware. You can give intention to being aware of your thoughts. Journaling prompts. You can write about the challenging situations you have and reframe your thoughts post-session. So you're probably thinking, oh, I have to do this whilst I'm playing poker. You can. You may as well. The moment that something happens is going to be a great opportunity for you to rewire and reframe the situation. But doing it after your session, because I know some of you guys play a lot of tables, doing it after your session is going to be really, really helpful as well. So you can journal, you can write down about some situations that popped up in your session that gave you a strong emotional reaction, and then you can come back to it and think, how do I want to reframe this? Because the next time it happens, you're going to be prepared. Okay. And self-talk techniques. So be your own poker caddy. Why is it that professional golfers have caddies? Of course, they're helping them, giving them information and maybe some insights, but they are going to be constantly framing situations for the player to serve them. So yeah, be your own poker caddy. And you can also use positive mantras as well. This is self-talk. For example, you could say to yourself, I control what I can. I let go of the rest. I control what I can. I let go of the rest. So, coming to the end here, if I figure out how to attach a PDF to the YouTube description, I will attach a free workbook that has some notes about this session, about this masterclass. And there's also a little bit of there's a page for journaling some of the situations that arise in the same format as the model that I've shown you, the thought model. And I want to thank you guys for putting in the effort into this masterclass and trying to apply and understand what I've been sharing with you. True change comes from consistent action, okay, and self-reflection, and self-awareness. These two things are really, really important, okay. If you're really serious about becoming the best version of yourself, whatever that means, getting the most out of poker, getting the most out of your life, then we'd love to work with you. Here at the Mindset Lab, we offer one-to-one coaching. So, yeah, if you're willing to put in the energy and looking to grow as a person, then yeah, we really love to work with you. And coaching can really offer personalized guidance to overcoming your own unique challenges and achieving the long-term growth that you're looking for, the results that you're looking for. So to wrap this up, I'd like to just share a quote with you. You can see it on the screen here, and maybe you've heard of this guy, Viktor E. Frankl. He's a survivor from the Holocaust. He wrote a book that I read a few years ago. Did I? Maybe. Oh yeah, here. I really recommend this book, Man's Search for Meaning. And he says, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and freedom. This is lining up with the thought model here, the stimulus being our external world and us receiving the information, and the response being our behavior that follows our emotion. Okay, so what lies between that? Our thoughts. That's where our power lies. That's where we can grow. That's where our freedom lies. So yes, thank you very much for if you've got through this far. If you apply this to your life, to poker, I can guarantee that it's going to have a positive impact in your life. And yes, if you're looking to improve your win rate, make more money, have more fulfillment in the game, then why not give it a go? Thank you very much, and until next time, bye bye.